4 gangsters arrested in Phnom Penh. In a renewed onslaught of the scourge of teenage gangsterism in Phnom Penh, brave police cracked down on 2 teenage hoodlums who were disturbing members of the public. Disappointment for Cambodia's most handsome man in Mr. Global 2022. There was heartbreak for Mr. Cambodia Arka Sovan Karida in the Mr. Global 2022 competition in Thailand yesterday. World Bank Regional VP affirms commitment to assisting Cambodia move to high middle-income status. World Bank Vice President for East Asia and Pacific Manuela V. Ferro reaffirmed the World Bank's commitment to continue strong and cohesive cooperation with Cambodia to assist the country in achieving high middle-income status. Phnom Penh welcomes inaugural Thai Vietjet's Bangkok flight. The touchdown of the first flight from Bangkok of Thai Vietjet's new route, Bangkok-Phnom Penh, was celebrated yesterday with the minister in charge of the State Secretariat for Civil Aviation, Mao Havanel, present to welcome the first arrivals. Angkor Wat equinox expected to draw crowds. The phenomenon of the sun rising exactly over the peak of Angkor Wat Temple, which only happens twice a year, is expected to draw crowds when it occurs on March 21st. Cambodia abolishes need for PCR tests obtained 72 hours prior to arrival and rapid tests on arrival. Cambodia has abolished the need for a PCR negative test, obtained 72 hours before arrival in Cambodia. Thailand ups the ante for travelers and tourists by going for axing of pre-travel tests. The government is set to allow tourists to enter Thailand without the need to show proof of a negative RT-PCR test within 72 hours of travel, as required by the Test and Go scheme. Cambodia, World Bank discuss education cooperation within COVID-19 context. The Kingdom of Cambodia and the World Bank have discussed the education situation and cooperation in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. Traditional Chinese medicine experts arrive in Cambodia to help fight COVID-19. A team of 10 traditional Chinese medicine (TCM) experts arrived here in the capital of Cambodia Wednesday evening to help the Southeast Asian nation fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Deceptive stats. Lower C-19 daily cases does not mean pandemic has eased. The declining number of daily Omicron cases in the kingdom has given some people the impression that the outbreak has panned out. Cambodia reinstates visa on arrival scheme. In addition to abolishing the need for a negative PCR negative test obtained 72 hours before arrival in Cambodia, the kingdom has also announced the visa on arrival (VOA) scheme has been reinstated. Cambodia and Myanmar Special Forces to strengthen cooperation. Cambodia and Myanmar have agreed to cooperate in training and development of each other's special forces. The announcement came during a visit by Myanmar's Chief of Army Staff General Maung Maung Ai to Cambodia on Tuesday. Ministry gathers evidence on Rainsey's involvement in CP. The Ministry of Interior is in the midst of collecting evidence over the link between the main opposition party and its founder, allegedly former opposition leader Sam Rainsy. Interior Ministry received 152 complaints on political parties' list of candidates. Minister of Interior Sa Keng said on Tuesday a party that has been removed from the list of political parties has the right to file a complaint against the decision. France marks Cambodia peacekeeping anniversary. France marked the 30th anniversary of the country's peacekeeping mission to Cambodia, saying that it was a successful operation to clear mines and explosives. Govt report says $600 million spent in subsidies for poor. The Ministry of Economy and Finance said the government has spent nearly $600 million to help poor families across the country. Cambodia prepares to set up manufacturing plant to roll out COVID-19 vaccines. Cambodia is making all preparations to set up a manufacturing plant to produce a vaccine against COVID-19, either by end of this year or next year, said the Ministry of Health Secretary of State Yauk Sambath on Tuesday. Postman jailed over dud check issuance. The Phnom Penh Municipal Court has charged and jailed a postman for issuing a dud check. Soccer's lawyers trade barbs with a prosecutor over rape comment. Lawyers for former president of the court dissolved Cambodia National Rescue Party Khmer Soccer have traded barbs with a prosecutor when they pressed the court to reveal a foreign country their client allegedly connived with. MRC issues urgent call to tackle falling water level. The Mekong River Commission, MRC, has called for its members to take urgent steps to protect Asia's largest river, following a report that the water level is at its lowest. District officials urged to stop land deals in protected areas. The Environment Ministry has urged district officials to stop approval of land being sold in protected areas. The move came during a two-day workshop on Tuesday on legal information related to natural resources in Khmer province. 200 indigenous people protest against company for land encroachment. Some 200 indigenous people in Mondulkiri province have come together to protest against a company for encroaching into their collective land. 200 families told to see district administration on land issue. District officials intercepted and prevented 200 families from going to the Prevahia Provincial Hall on Tuesday to submit a petition requesting the government to allocate forest land for each family to cultivate and harvest crops. 35th Technical Session and 28th Plenary Session of ICC Angkor, to be held next week. The Apsara National Authority will organize the 35th Technical Session and 28th Plenary Session of the International Coordinating Committee for the Safeguarding and Development of Historic Site of Angkor, ICC Angkor, on Mar. Women's Voices in Cambodia's Research Community. With its aspirations to become a middle-income country by 2030 and a high-income country by 2050, Cambodia has an outsized need for up-to-date research data to anchor effective policymaking and spur development. JMSDF shares experience in maritime demining techniques with Navy officers. The Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force, JMSDF, shared its experience in submerging mines, and even demonstrated the use of advanced equipment capable of submerging mines and other demining techniques to Cambodian Navy. Law on combating the financing of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction disseminated. The Task Force for Anti-Money Laundering, Terrorism Financing and Proliferation Financing of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, MFA.IC, organized a webinar on the dissemination of the law on combating the financing of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Malaysian Embassy works on growing ties with Kampong Spu. Malaysian Ambassador to Cambodia Eldin Hussaini Mohd Hashim said he is committed to building more economic, cultural and people-to-people links between Malaysia and Kampong Spu province. ASEAN COVID-19 Table-17 March 2022. ASEAN as a whole has reported more than 25.28 million COVID-19 cases. Of this, more than 4.21 million are active cases as of March 17.